Okay, good afternoon, team. Today I'm going to explain you one Rex program which reads the data from SDSF. Okay, a Rex program to read the data from SDSF. Now, this is my data set in which all my Rex programs are there. Okay, the data set attributes are okay. It is an PDS data set. Okay, with fixed block and record length is 80 and block size is 32720. So you can use these attributes to create a PDS dataset. Okay. In this one, my program name is okay, Rex program to read the SDSF data. Okay. So today what I'm going to explain is how the SDSF data is loaded into the Rex program, how it is formatted, and how the required columns are taken from SDSF and displayed it in the displayed when the program starts executing. Okay, so what is my SDSF data now? Okay, here this is your complete SDSF primary menu. Okay, it is SDSF primary option menu. Okay, in this we have different panels. DA stands for active users, I is input queue, O is output queue, H is held output queue. ST stands for status of a job. Like that, we have log, SR, MS, JC, and here you have inits, okay, user log. These many, these everything are individual panels. Okay, these are individual panels. Now, these individual panels are again divided into two types. Now, if I open a panel ST, okay, so once I open a panel ST, what you are seeing here is these are the SDSF column names. Okay, these are the SDSF column names. So now when you say job name, under job name you can see these many jobs. Okay, under job ID you can see these many job ID. Under owner you can see the IBM user as a owner. So priority, then queue. So this is the classification done in SDSF. But if you want to do any programming on SDSF, using Rex, we need to take an equivalent system variable of these columns. Okay, we have to take a equivalent system variable of this column. So what is the system variable of job name? So how to see that? You can see that using calls help. Okay, when you press calls help, here you can see different panels and you can see the system variables assigned against the title of that panels. Now, if you do an MF8, okay, so this is our HT panel. This is a HT panel. In this HT panel, you can see here, this is the title which is displayed under SDSF HT panel, but your equivalent system variable is job name. Okay, so for job type, it is type. For job number, J number, and here also it is same. For job ID, job ID. Owner is owner ID. So when you do any programming on SDSF using Rex, you are using these columns to format the data. So we will be using these columns inside your program to format the data. Now, one more thing is, if I want to use these columns inside my program, first I need to load SDSF inside my program. I have to load SDSF inside my program. So how do we load SDSF inside my program is you have and Rex a standard process. We write a address as SDSF. So when you say address as SDSF, and after that you have to use ISF exec ST. So if you type this much, your SDSF ST panel attributes, that is your SDSF ST panel, all these column value will be loaded inside your program. Okay, will be loaded inside the program. Then next statement what we are using is, now if I want to read these values, if I want to read these values, I have to read it using an array, because it is not in single value, it is in a format of row and columns. It is in the format of row and columns. So I have to read this value in the format of array. So in Rex, and array terminology is, array is called as stem. In Rex, we call array as stem. And how do we declare is stem dot. Okay. So any variable, if you give here array dot, it indicates that it is an array variable. Okay, it indicates that it is an array variable. Now, if you give here jname dot, so it is a stem variable. Okay, so using a do loop, now what I will do is inside my program, if I want to read the first value, okay, then if I want to read the second job name, third job name, fourth job name. So these things will be more clear if you go here. Now see, now I want to read job name 1. I want to read job name 2. I want to read job name 3. Then for job name 1, I need to read job ID, owner, priority, job class. These are the attributes I want to read. So how I will make my Rex program to understand these attributes? By using the variables, equivalent variables, or you can say it as a system variables defined against this SDSF title. So I'll be using these two formatting. So once I know that I can use these things, okay, then I will load SDSF by using address SDSF, then which panel you want to use. This is the panel I want to use. Now next, once you load your SDSF, once you load the SDSF, this data will come inside your Rex program. Which data will come? This complete data will come inside your Rex program. This will be loaded. Now I want to read this data. So how to read this data? This is in the format of rows and columns. So how I will be reading it? I will be using the array concept. So array in Rex is named as stem. So we will be using an array variable. So how do we identify an array variable is by using stem dot. Any variable which has, which is ending with a dot, suppose now jname. Okay, so jname dot, jname is a single variable. When I use jname dot, it is a array variable or it is a stem variable. Now if I want to read this data, line number 1, line number 2, then I will make use of a do loop. Do I equal to 1 to, do I equal to 1 to the array variable dot 0. That is, suppose I am using jname as my array variable, that is dot jname dot 0. So until all the columns are completed, you continue the loop. Until all the columns are completed, you continue the loop. So what will be there in jname dot zero at the last? Jname dot zero, what it will be having? Suppose I read the first line I read. Okay. So I equal to 1. Second I read I equal to 2. I equal to 3. I equal to 4. I equal to 5. I equal to 6. I equal to 7. So jname dot zero will be having a value called as 7. So I will use my loop 7 times. So I'll be using my loop 7 times. So there is one more concept. One more concept. Whenever you use a stem variable, you need to activate this stem variable. You need to activate the stem variable. How I activate this? I am using a statement return code equal to ISF false on ISF false on. Okay, return code equal to ISF false on. So when I write return code equal to ISF false on, you are informing your Rex program that you are going to use a stem variable inside the Rex coding. So you will be using stem variable inside the Rex coding. To activate this, you are using RC equal to ISF false on. So once your reading is completed, once your reading is completed, you need to deactivate the stem variable. So that for that we are using OFF. Okay, OFF. So now once you load this data into the Rex program by using this parameter, we use this one, ADD SDSF, okay, ISF false ST. If you use this inside your Rex program, this data is loaded inside the Rex. So where it is loaded, how the Rex program will read the data. So for Rex program to read the data, you should give the memory location. That is where this data is stored. Okay, where this data is stored. So whenever any SDSF data is loaded inside the Rex program, it is stored in a temporary table called as ISF calls. We call, okay, sorry, a temporary table called as ISF rows. Okay, this is a temporary table where this data will be loaded. Where this data will be loaded. So we have to make use of. So we are making use of ISF rows. So ISF rows is a temporary table where your data is loaded for a shorter time. So this will get created and it will be destroyed once you are reading, once you complete the reading. It is like our sort field. When you are sorting a data inside your COBOL programs, okay, there is a temporary memory allocation done for the sort. As soon as your COBOL program completes, the sort memory will be deleted. Similarly, we have ISF rows. So in this ISF rows, we have ISF calls. Okay. What does ISF calls do is whatever data you are loaded in ISF rows table, from that if you want to pick the required data, like suppose now this has job name, job ID, owner, priority and class. From this I want only job ID. Okay, I want only job ID. Next I want priority. Next I want class and I want the status. Now you are formatting the required data from the ISF calls, that is from the temporary table Using ISF columns, we'll format the data and you will take only the required columns from the SDSF which is loaded inside your program. I will take only this data. Now, after taking this data, after taking this data, so one more thing is if you given 3 here and hit an enter, you can see that all the required values which has a prefix. Okay, now this is complete data. Complete data in your SDSF. Okay, this is the complete data in your SDSF, which gives you all the started task, everything. Now, I don't want all this data. I want a data which is starting with my name, that is BHU star. Okay, I want only data. I want only jobs which are starting with BHU. So I will give prefix equal to BHU star. So now it will sort me and it will give me, it will sort me and it will give me only jobs which are starting with, okay. Okay, so it has given me the jobs which are starting with BHU. So this prefix is again a variable of your ISF calls. It is a variable under your ISF ISF rows. It is a variable inside your ISF rows. So now you have to write inside your X program 3 equal to BHU star so that you format only the jobs which are starting with BHU. Then you can again format the jobs starting with owner equal to, suppose owner equal to my rack of ID. So it is IBM user. So whatever credentials IBM user has, only that jobs will be displayed. If you give owner equal to star, you will get all the jobs. All the jobs starting only with BHU. Starting only with BHU. So now let us go to the program. Okay. Now say you start a Rex program with this comment. Okay. How the comment starts in Rex is slash star, then compulsory is your Rex. You write Rex as, then after Rex, you write whatever you want. You have to close it by a star and a slash. So your compiler will try to find this Rex keyword before starting the compilation of the Rex program. Now next is here I am activating the stem variable by using ISF calls on. So ISF call invokes a stem variable. Okay. Second is I have used ISF prefix equal to BHU so that I get the jobs which are starting with BHU. Then I am using ISF calls. Why I am using ISF calls? When I load SDSF inside this program, from that I want to format only the required columns. So what and all I am using is JName, job ID, job number, job cost, job priority, and job status. I took only this data. So from where I got these variables? From where I got these variables? I got it from, here. That is call cell. So for your SDSF title, you have equivalent variables. So I have picked some of the variables from here. What and all I have picked is So I picked a job name. I picked a job name, job ID, job number, job class, job name, job ID, job number, job class. So the required things which you want to format, you can pick from this variable. So now next is I am loading your SDSF panel ST data here by using address equal to SDSF, address equal to SDSF, ISF exec ST, address SDSF, ISF exec ST. As soon as I write this statement, what it will do, it will open SDSF ST. So why you can also say that it is used to load the SDSF. So now what data is brought into your program is, so you brought this complete data inside your program. Now you brought this data inside the program. Now after bringing this data inside the program, this data is stored in a temporary table. This data is stored in a temporary table called as ISF rows. Okay, it is stored in a temporary table called as ISF rows, and ISF rows will be having a value of the last column, that is, in this case it is 7. If you count this, it is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. It will be 7. It will be 7. So now what I am doing after loading your SDSF, as soon as you load SDSF, you need to check whether this statement is successful or not. For that I am using return code greater than 0, then exit. That is, if it is not loaded successfully, you exit from this program. Okay. So if it is loaded successfully, then I am trying to read the number of rows from the loaded SDSF data. Okay. So that value will be there in your temporary table ISF rows. So I am just displaying ISF rows. Now I am using a do loop and I will try to read the data which is in the format of rows and columns. Our data is in the format of rows and columns. So I will be reading the first row, first column, second row, second column, third row, third row, fourth row, fifth row. So to read this data, we have to use an array concept. That is why I am making use of a stem variable. Okay, stem variable that I have represented by using a dot operator. Okay. So when I say jname dot I, it says that your jname is a stem variable. In that I am reading whatever value I has. Now initially I has a value of 1. So my first statement what it will be printing is say job name of 1. Okay, so it will display job name of 1. That is, it is going to display the first line, this one. Then it will display ID 761. How it will display? Job ID, job ID, job ID dot I. That is job ID dot 1. Job class dot 1. So this job ID, okay, this job ID, job class and job name I have already declared here to format the data. Now this loop will continue until your ISF rows becomes 7. That is your I value becomes 7. Okay. After that, I am calling a procedure called as MSG-RTN. Calling a procedure called as MSG-RTN. What this procedure does, whenever you read the data from your ISF rows, okay, for every line what you are reading, system will give the token value. The system will give the token value. So I'm trying to read the token value also here. So if I go into this procedure, if I go into this now, so after you load the SDSF, activate the stem variables, you have to deactivate it by using ISF calls off. Okay, so I have called this procedure to read the token variables. So I will start the procedure here and I will parse the data into two values, that is message and message to. Message and message to. In that, I will check if message is not empty. If the message is not empty, then you say you try to display whatever value is there inside the message. Whatever value is there inside the message. Now, after reading, if this message variable has some value, then this statement will be true. It will display the value and it will go back again here, again into the do loop. Again, it will call it. Again, it will display the value. So presently, I have disabled it by commenting it. So now, shortly we'll go through this program again. Okay. Only we'll go through the syntax. So this statement I am using to activate the stem variable. Okay. So these statements I am using to format the data from your ISF rows. Okay. So how I will get the data to format it when I load your SDSF by using this statement. Okay. I'm loading the ST panel by using this statement. Once you load the ST panel, using this statement, you are checking whether your call is successful or not. After that, I am using a do loop and I'm trying to read the data. I'm formatting the data by these variables which I have declared here. Okay. So this I got from your calls help column. In SDSF calls help, if you use, you will get a system equivalent variables for your SDSF panel. So from there, I formatted it using this statement. Now I will continue this do loop until I get the last value in your SF rows. That is, in our case, it is 7 columns. So it will display you 7. So whenever you are using ISF rows and trying to read the data using stem variable, your SDSF data which is read, it will be having an extra data which we call it as a token. So to read that token data, I am using a procedure called as MSG-RTN. So if you go here, so in MSG-RTN, I will parse the data into two variables, that is message and message two. So in that I will check whether the data inside message one is whether the message variable has a data or it is empty. That is, you can check it by if message not equal to empty, then you just display the message data. I'm not displaying the second variable here. So presently I have commented this procedure, here. So now we will try to execute this. Now see what I am reading. I am reading this SDSF data. Okay. I'm reading this SDSF data. So how to execute a Rex program is We are executing it explicitly. We are not doing any implicit calls. Explicit execution is by using an ex keyword, okay, in front of the member name. So if I hit enter, now you see number of rows read are 7. How we got 7? Because your ISF rows has a count of your number of lines in the SDSF, that is 7. So now how job name equal to 1 came here? Because we are using do and we are trying to read it in the form of an array by using the stem variable. Stem variable name is jname.i. So I got Bhushan K. Then job id.i is the first job id class. Similarly, it will read the second one. So it will read like this 7. So your job name 7 is this one, job id, job class. So how we read an SDSF data is by making use of address SDSF ST. If you want to read some other SDSF panel, suppose if you want to use the active users, you have to use here DA. Then you need to change these variables by using your call helps. Okay. So next I will be explaining you how to purge these jobs. How to purge all these jobs. By same program, only one statement we have to add, that I will add and explain. Thank you.